We are coming to you from the city beautiful Chicago, Illinois, where this afternoon Comcast Sportsnet presents White Sox baseball. It's Jose Abreu, Melky Cabrera, Avi Garcia, and our Sox as they get set to butt heads with Brandon Phillips, Todd Frazier, and Brian Price's Cincinnati Reds. Hi, everybody, and welcome. With Steve Stone, I'm Ken Harrelson as we get set to bring you Game 1 of this doubleheader. As you may or may not know, last night the rains came often and sometimes very, very heavy, so we couldn't get it in. But we got our work cut out for us in Game 1 in this one.
We got a doubleheader today, and Johnny Cueto, who was supposed to throw the second game of the series, is now throwing the first game, and Cueto's their best. Perennially, one of the best ERAs in all of baseball. Last time out wasn't a good outing for him, but he's got a good changeup. He's got a very good fastball, which he can throw anywhere from 97 down to 92. Last time out, didn't have a good day. The most hits of the year, the most earned runs of the year, and he lost to the Braves. So this is a guy probably looking for a little redemption, but at his best, he's as good as anybody, and hopefully Hector Noesi is equal to the task.
Well, we got a couple of guys swinging the bat pretty well.
Guys who weren't off to great starts are suddenly starting to swing the bat. One of them is Connor Gillespie, who's had a very good homestand. It included his first home run of the year, and this was a big one. Helped beat the Tigers. Then Micah Johnson, also off to a slow start, but heating it up on the homestand, so the two left-handers have done a pretty good job. Micah 5 for 10 with a double and 3 runs scored. Connor 3 for 6 with a homer, a triple, and 3 runs driven in. And hopefully more of the same today. We're going to need some speed on the base paths, although Cueto has a very good move.
All right, first of a pair, so sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Cincinnati Reds in Game 1 of today's doubleheader. With all the changes in the schedule over the past 2 weeks, the White Sox have had 5 off days in that time. Robin Ventura met the media prior to the game and was asked if there's such a thing as too many days off.
It makes it a little more difficult. I think, even looking at just the rhythm of it, but getting extra guys in there, it's harder to sit there and insert a guy here, insert a guy there, because we're still trying to find our way with the regulars. So, that part, as much as you can't control, that's the part that kind of sets you back.
It's hard to sit a regular when you're already missing games.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they're tired or anything like that. So, it becomes more difficult at that point just to get a rhythm going, because we've had so many days that we've missed, either in Baltimore for everything that was going on there, or rain, or just a regular off day. So there's been quite a few of them.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with Game 1 between the Sox and Reds right after these messages.
brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. Audi, truth in engineering. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to beautiful U.S. Cellular Field. It's an overcast day. It's 57 degrees, but unlike yesterday, there will be baseball. In fact, the first of a doubleheader, about ready to kick it off. Johnny Cueto has taken his warm-up tosses. He's ready to come in. He won 20 games last year, 20-9 with an ERA of 2.25, one of the league's best right-handers in the last year of his contract with Cincinnati. So you can bet that he doesn't like the start he's gotten off to. It's basically because of lack of support, but he's got exceptional stuff. And Robin is hoping that his ball club can follow up with a series win against Detroit with another series win against Cincinnati. The Reds come in at 14-14. The Sox come in at 10-15. Sox 6.5 games in back of Detroit. Cincinnati 7.5 in back of a streaking St. Louis Cardinal team. So let's take a look at how Brian Price is going to line up his Reds for the first of two. Billy Hamilton leading it off. Then it's Marlon Byrd, Todd Frazier, who leads the team in home runs, along with Jay Bruce, Brandon Phillips, Ryan Pena, Zach Cozart, Skip Shoemaker, and Chris Negron. And there's the defense. And how they'll line up behind Hector Nuese, left to right, Melky Cabrera in left, and Adam Eaton and Avisail Garcia as we move around the outfield. Connor Gillespie at third, Alexi Ramirez at short, Micah Johnson at second, and Jose Abreu is at first. Tyler Flowers gets a nod in the first of two. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Hector Nuese. On for his fourth start, his ERA 6 3/4. He has allowed 4 home runs, which is a pretty high total in 14 2/3. He'll have to try to keep the ball in the ballpark today, but the most important thing is keep Billy Hamilton off base. He's almost impossible to throw out when he gets on. The umpires for the first game of two. John Hirschbeck behind the plate. Pat Hoberg is at first. DJ Rayburn at second. John Tompane at third. And Hirschbeck is the crew chief. So with the wind, not all that much of a factor today. They've thrown the ball around the infield, which means we're ready to kick it off here. And I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
Hi, Steve. Thank you. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to White Sox Baseball right here with Comcast Sportsnet. So happy you could join us for the first of this 3-game set and the first of this doubleheader. Billy Hamilton will lead it off. And the first pitch taken for a strike.
They wanted to work on Hamilton's bunting, and with that in mind, Delino DeShields was teaching him, but so far it really hasn't taken hold quite as well as they would have liked.
There's another strike. So the count 0-2. Cincinnati comes in hitting at .234 as a club with a 3.88 team ERA. And that's up high. Hamilton 14 for 15 in stolen bases. 2-2.
Marlon Byrd in the on-deck circle, and normally Hamilton does not walk very much.
He gone. In fact, Cincinnati Ball Club has stole 33 bases in 35 attempts.
Good changeup. That ball down and out of the zone. Hamilton, who is a free swinger, goes down on strikes. Good way to start.
Here's a good play right here. Very much underrated. Marlon Byrd. 37-year-old veteran hitting at .221.
Walt Jocketty, the general manager, had wanted Byrd for quite some time. Finally able to get him this offseason.
That's strike. Cincinnati 14-14. And the Sox meeting for the first time against the Reds since 2009. And we lead the all-time series 14-3. Three and one to Bird. It's full.
That's a good pitch. Good fastball in the outside corner. With Todd Frazier in the on-deck circle, he leads his team in home runs. He's driven in 19, so he's the big bat in the middle. Especially missing Joey Votto, who's serving a one-game suspension.
And that's just off the corner, so the one-out walk.
Wesley's control this year has not been quite what he liked. The percentage is 13.5 walks. 13.5% as opposed to league average, which is probably double league average. That's something he's got to tighten up.
So here's Frazier hitting at 240 with those 10 homers. Marlon Bird has tried one stolen base and was successful.
There was a time when Marlon could run very well, but he's got decent speed, not the good speed he used to have at 37 years old.
There's a strike on the corner. Very quickly to count 0-2 in here at the ballpark. 330 down the left field line, 335 down the right field line, 375 in the gap stand, 400 straightaway center.
Frazier's grounded into 4 double plays. You'd love to see him roll over a pitch away, and that's where Hector has stayed the first 2 pitches.
That's a good piece of woodwork right there by Frazier. Pitch off the outside corner. So 1 out, 2 on.
Frazier was in full protection mode, realizing that he had already seen an outside pitch called a strike. Went out and got this slider. Took it gently into right center field. Just trying to stay alive, and worked out well for him.
Sox all-time in interleague play, 182 up and 141 down, which is 4th best percentage in baseball. Jay Bruce off to a very slow start for him. He's a good hitter, hitting at 170. 5 homers, 15 knocked in. Way out in front to even the count at 1.
Bruce did not have a good year last year. Hit just .217. 18 home runs, 66 driven in, and fanned 149 times. Not particularly good numbers for him.
He was National High School Player of the Year in 05. He broke into the big leagues the same way. with a lot of base hits and a lot of home runs. Two and two. And they said that every game he played his senior year in high school, there were at least 30 scouts there.
He's got a terrific swing. He can throw. But last few years, the career arc is going downhill.
Full count.
Look at Brandon Phillips, one of their better players. He's not hitting for power, but he is hitting.
There's a bullet. Down past Billy Hatcher. First base coach and just a terrific guy. Billy Hatcher. Been around a long time. Jim Ruggleman, the coach at third. He gone. Yes, upstairs. Two down.
This one he kept high and away, threw it right by him. As Bruce, no stranger to the strikeout fans for the 32nd time, and that's tops on the ball club.
So here is the second baseman, Brandon Phillips, hitting at 314 with a homer. He's driven in 14. Talking yesterday to some Cincinnati people, and they said that he still is a terrific second baseman, but a few years ago he may have been the best second baseman in baseball.
He's got very good hands, turns the double play exceptionally well.
We've seen enough of him in his career on the highlight films.
Yeah, and he's a guy that managers really like to put in their lineup because he's going to make contact, and with runners in scoring position, as you can see, hitting 345, that's pretty good. These days the power hasn't been there, but contact has. He is a hard guy to strike out.
Oh, and 2 the count. Two on, two out. That ball hit hard in the center field, but we have a man there. Adam makes the catch. That'll retire the side. Nothing across. They strand the pair after a half inning play. It's Surveys nothing, and the good guys coming to bat.
It's Eaton, Cabrera, and Abreu at the top, with LaRoche, Garcia, and Gillespie in the middle, followed by Ramirez, Flowers, and Micah Johnson, who's been doing a good job recently. The defense and how they'll line up behind Johnny Cueto left to right. Bird, Hamilton, and Bruce in the outfield with Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, and Negron in the infield. Ryan Pena is off to a good start, getting the nod behind the plate, and Johnny Cueto on for the 7th start of the year. His ERA a fine 2.72, only 6 walks, 40 strikeouts, and 43 in the third. He's got a good moving fastball, a very good straight change, will throw a slider, and we'll tell you about his move when he gets somebody on first base.
And he's got a terrific windup. Shows you that 47 on his back. Before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours as there's strike one. Adam Eaton. Sox come in hitting at 243 as a club. And that's a souvenir.
One of the things you have to watch from Cueto is a quick pitch, because a lot like pitcher of yesteryear, Louis Tiant, he does almost a complete pivot on the mound, except when he really has to get a big strikeout or a big out. He won't turn, he'll quick pitch you, and it's very effective for him.
That ball hit well into left field. He broke in, now breaks back, can't get it. So Marlon Byrd did not read that one well, and that's a leadoff double.
Cueto got this one up and away. And Adam, who's starting to make a whole lot more contact, takes it over the head of Byrd. We told you he doesn't have the best speed these days, and he comes up short on this.
So here's Melky hitting at 281 with a homer. It was a big one, a 3-run shot. They tied up the ball game against the Tigers in the bottom of the 8th inning. One, two.
Pretty good numbers career-wise against Cabrera. I mean, for Cabrera against Cueto. Cueto against most guys pretty much overmatches him.
Melky hitting at 369 left-handed. 097 right-handed. That ball hit hard. That's going to get the job done. Adam will tag and move into third. So a good job by Cabrera. Good read by Adam. Very quickly getting back in to tag. So with one out, let's check out our picks to click this afternoon. Angio, our director and crew, leaving with Adam. Steve's going with Connor and Chuck Swirsky and Bill Winnington. And we're going to go with Melky Cabrera. Well, I was listening to that Bull game.
What a game last night.
And what a broadcast they had.
I listened to the broadcast for quite a while, then got a chance to see the second half. It was wildly entertaining.
I drove in my driveway, ran into the house, cut off the alarm, and I got to see the last 50-something seconds.
That was good.
But the broadcast by Chuck and Bill were I felt like it was right there at the United Center. Terrific job, guys. Terrific. Infield in. Abreu fouls it away.
Normally in the early stages of a game, if your team is hitting well, you're trying to stay out of the big inning. You don't play the infield in the first inning. But Cincinnati is not hitting well, and Brian Price figures as good a time as any. Try to coax a ground ball out of his pitcher.
I still can't believe they did not call a foul on LeBron James.
No.
I mean, that guy's standing right there looking at it, and he didn't call a foul. Unbelievable. Out of play right side.
Cueto's got a good hard slider. And if he trusts that Brian Pena is going to be able to knock it down, this is a pretty good time for it. Phillips is very close at second base. He's in on the grass.
The 1-2. Out and around it. Hooks it. Adam LaRoche on deck. An oddity about Cueto, he has no wild pitches this year, and yet 3 balks.
You're going to
see that very often.
When he gets a man at first base, you're going to see why he's got those balks, because he has an outstanding move to first, but it's a balk move. It's
well,
a move
the comparison, though, is no wild pitches.
True.
And balks, yeah.
But it's a move where he breaks the back leg, but he does it so quickly, a lot of umpires don't pick it up. He was called twice in one game and once the next time out, and it's all in the back leg. If you perfect it, it's a great move, and you're going to pick off your share.
He did not go. Wasn't Joe West the umpire, huh?
No.
On the box?
No. That was Pat Hoberg on that appeal. No, it wasn't Joe on the box. Joe's a left-handed pitching specialist on the box, as we saw with Mark Burley a couple times.
I've been in this game a long time. As that's fouled away. There's a couple things in baseball that are constant that you got to do. You've got to catch the ball. That's the first rule in baseball. You got to catch the ball, and you don't mess with Joe West. You do those 2 things, you're probably going to be all right.
That right off his leg.
Yeah.
And that is going to hurt.
If it's off the shin or the knee, yeah. It's going to hurt anywhere, but especially there.
They're going to check on him with Robin and Hermie coming out. Take another look.
Top of the foot.
Top of the left foot.
What happens in that situation with a lot of guys, those bones will sit up like this, Steve, right? These are your toes. They'll sit up like that, up. And that ball hits them, it knocks them down. And sometimes they come back and they don't get back to the top. They get like this.
If they do that, you might have a problem.
Well, that's how the Detroit team doctor many years ago got his job, because K-Line did that. Knocked them down. They didn't come back up. They couldn't fix it. And the guy called them up and said, I'll fix it. He fixed it. Next year he was the team doctor. So the 2-2 pitch. Jammed him. Popped him up. And a good catch. Good catch right there by Chris Negron.
Well, Negron is a lifetime shortstop. The only reason he's playing first is Joey Votto is serving a 1-game suspension. But he's more than acceptable. He's got good speed. This is a terrific play. Going as fast as he could toward the stands, and then the awareness with a man at third to get the ball back to the plate as quickly as possible.
So it's up to Adam with 2 down. Adam hitting at .212, 3 homers. He's driven in 10.
I'm sure these guys matched up a few times with Adam playing a lot of his baseball in the National League, and Cueto in that league for quite some time.
He's faced him 16 times, has 2 hits.
Cueto came to the big leagues in 2008. He signed with the Reds back in 2004. And his 2 best years, 2012 at 19-9, and last year, first time he won 20-9.
Adam having a real tough time when he's down in the count.
Cincinnati.
Most guys do.
Yeah, if you're down in the count, it becomes a very defensive at bat. And Cincinnati has had good but not great teams, and Cueto is 27 over 500 for his career, which tells you just how good he's been.
And there's ball 4. Here's Avi hitting at .319, a homer. He's driven in 9. Takes first pitch strike at 93.
Pretty impressive. Hitting safely in 11 of his last 12. Most of the time to right center or right back up the middle.
And that's popped up, and that's going to be playable. Reaches over, so we get a man at third, less than 2 outs, and once again we cannot get him home. So to Beer Money. Watch the most exciting sports trivia show on television. That's where fans test their knowledge and try to win big, starting at 7 right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
Ryan Pena is a switch hitter, much better from the left side. 222 is a right-hand hitter. 341 is a left-hand hitter.
Well, both teams in the first inning had a walk and a hit. So here is Pena. He's always hit the ball well against us. Out and around it.
There you look at some pretty good numbers to start off this year. Pena has been around for quite some time, getting the lion's share of the catching duties.
1-2. Count hangs at 1-2.
Number one catcher on this team was supposed to be Devin Mesoraco. Last year, his 25 home runs led all major league catchers. But he's had a hip problem. We're going to see him in the second game of the doubleheader as a designated hitter. Catching has been a problem for him.
Yeah, he can't squat.
Well, without that, that's bad position.
It's hard to be a stand-up third baseman. It's hard to be a stand-up first baseman. But it's even harder to be a stand-up catcher.
You're going to have some problems if you're a stand-up catcher.
Full count.
Zach Cozart in the on-deck circle. He's off to a good start.
That's a base hit. So the leadoff single. And Hector's throwing a lot of pitches.
A lot of long counts, which will lead to a whole lot of pitches, especially if the hitter fouls off a few. Cozart, the shortstop combination, along with Phillips, one of the better shortstop second base double play combinations in baseball.
And combined averages of these two guys are one of the best. Can't get him. A little bobble.
Would have been a fairly easy 2. As it is, it's a force out. Take another look. Lexi not very happy with himself. Down on one knee. And then can't control it. Pena got down in a hurry as he saw Micah dropping down from the side. Wanted to avoid a face burger.
Cozart 2 for 2 in stolen bases, just has a decent lead. Big hack by Shoemaker. Skip Shoemaker, 35-year-old veteran.
Spent most of his career with the Cardinals, and I'm sure that Walt Jocketty, who was the GM of the Cardinals, now the GM of the Reds, remembered his contributions, so he brought him over. But last year, an injury-plagued season for him.
Walt Jocketty, very talented GM and a terrific person.
I thought he did just a wonderful job at St. Louis.
Walt's one of those guys, whenever you see him, you sort of light up. He's a definite upper.
He was a good man. I do remember Walt was offered a couple of different jobs at the same time. He was one of those hot names for GMs. And he stopped at a place that I was involved with in Scottsdale. We talked about the possibilities, and one of his choices was the Cardinals. I told him, you're going to a hallowed franchise if you go there. And of course, that's where he wound up, and he did a great job with St. Louis.
He gone. Gas upstairs. 2 down.
High fastball. Left-handers have big problems up and out of the zone. You saw in the Menards pitch tracks that if you're ahead of a hitter, that's a great place for a wipeout. And Negron, although he's not off to much of a start, has some pretty big power the opposite way.
Hitting at 118, 29-year-old veteran. Takes strike 1. Bit of a gap out there in left center. And just for you out there, maybe wanting to see your Sox play, one ticket is good for both games today, like the old-fashioned doubleheader that we used to play every Sunday.
A lot of baseball for one admission price.
One and two. Those Sunday doubleheaders. That's suiting the right side. And another souvenir. This will be the 41st pitch in just an inning and 2/3.
Always nice to keep your eye on the guy at first, except if Ryan Pena steals, we'll have a story. Cozart, rather, excuse me.
2-2.
Adam is shading him a couple of steps into right center field.
Ball gets away, and Cozart into second. So the third wild pitch and another full count.
Tyler could not get his body over to his right, and that ball caroms away. So now runner in scoring position.
You know, one of these days, second walk issued by Heck.
Think someone might convince him to work quickly?
Well, you know, it's do the math. This is called do the math. In most cases, the shorter the at bat, the more chance you have to be successful.
Yeah. The old wipe them out in one if you can philosophy, and two if you can't, and then the third.
When you have those long at bats, chances are you're not going to be that successful. More pitches the guys see, the more dangerous they become. That's why I wish they would put them on a clock, and they're supposed to be for their own well-being. That's off. Noesi. Everybody's going to be safe on a shot. by Hamilton. That'll load him up.
They're going to check and see because that was a rocket back up the middle. And they want to see how Hector is. It saved a run, but it's a tough way to save a run. Hector gets hit with a bullet. Right back up the middle. Looks like it got him, hopefully, right around the right hip.
Hip pointers are not a whole bunch of fun. If in fact it got him right on that point.
Couldn't get the glove back. It took it off his hand, and now Hermie is checking it out. They're going to give him a few throws if in fact they judge that he is okay. Scott Carroll starting to loosen up.
And Chris Beck is on hand.
He is the 26th man. And you're allowed to do that without any roster adjustments when you're playing a doubleheader.
Chris Beck should be a pretty good major league pitcher. Samardzija and Sale serving their suspensions. And talking about Samardzija, yesterday he visited Thomas Jefferson Elementary, his late mother Deborah's former workplace in Valparaiso. And he personally invited students to a 2015 White Sox game, distributing 7,500 ticket vouchers to students in the Valparaiso School District. Wow.
A lot of pretty happy students, as you would expect. And so Hector is going to leave. That's going to allow Scott Carroll as much time as he wants to warm up. And so as Hector walks off and they examine him further, we'll take a break and be back with Scott Carroll loosening up on the mound after these messages. Fans to purchase this special ticket offer can join us on the outfield warning track and take selfies with selected players. Visit whitesox.com/selfie Sunday for tickets and more information.
And there's going to be 3 of those selfie Sundays. And 500 each time, 500 selfie Sunday tickets are going to be sold.
And our how to call to the pen is Scott Carroll, who's on for the 4th time. Gave up some runs last time, but they were of the unearned variety. A 1.50 ERA. And of course, because Hector left due to injury, he will be given as much time as he wants to get ready. He's been working out of the bullpen since being called up here, so it shouldn't be all that long. And he's going to inherit a problem. He's got the bases loaded. Unfortunately, there are 2 outs. And Marlon Byrd is going to come to bat.
Bases loaded, 2 out here in the top of the second. Each team in the first inning had a hit and a walk. Each team stranded 2 here. Now, game 2 is scheduled to begin at 6:10. Right now, it looks very doubtful.
You know, I think 6:10 pretty much flew out the window.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see if pitchers dominate. If pitchers dominate, and they haven't so far. There's been a lot of base runners early in this one. You can move the game along. And in the second game, Jason Marquis, who was supposed to start the game last night, will go against Carlos Rodon, who was supposed to start the night game tonight. He will start the second game of the doubleheader, and it becomes even more essential now that Hector has left with a line drive. If we hear anything, keep you updated on that. Jeff Samardzija and Chris Sale both looking at suspensions, so starting pitchers are going to be at a premium, and that makes the start of the second game for Rodon even more important. Seven grand slams for Marlon Byrd.
Marlon walked last inning. Cozart at third. Negron at second. Yes, he did. And Hamilton at first. Ground ball to the bag. And Scott gets his man. They threaten, can't score after an inning and a half. No score.
Last couple of games he's played, not only 6 for 8, 5 of them are home runs, driving in 10 runs. He hit 3 against the Marlins, came back with 2 against the Braves. Youngest player at 22 years old to hit 5 home runs in a 2-game span ever. So Harper off to a great start, and he's our T-Mobile game changer.
Gillespie, Ramirez, and Flowers to face Johnny Cueto, 29-year-old right-hander, 5'11", 221 pounds, out of the city of shortstops. And that's in the Dominican Republic. San Pedro de Macorís. High and wide, 1-1. Just off the plate.
Connor is starting to heat it up.
And there's the base hit. Connor, best fastball hitter on the team.
Menard's pitch tracks will show you that most likely isn't a straight change. It looked like it might have been a cutter or a slider that didn't do much. But Connor's been hot. He's been hitting just about everything. And a promising way to start the second.
Spiral slider appeared to be, as here is Alexei. Alexei off to a slow start at 2:02. That's right at him. Now he has hit the ball much harder than a 202 average, but he has hit right at him. Here's Tyler. Tyler at 189, a homer. He's driven in 6. Takes that pitch at 89 for a strike.
For Cueto, who's thrown his fastball at 92, 93, he can get it up there 97, and he will if he's having some problems later in the game. But early, you don't see 97.
Got a little Bartolo Colon in it, huh?
Yeah, he does that, and what Verlander used to do. If he can get you out early in the low 90s, he'll do that. You don't put any pressure on him, he'll coast along until you do. And then he's able to reach back and get a little something extra.
Well, that's an old school philosophy. You don't hear the term, he paced himself today in this game.
No, you don't.
Some of those pitchers back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. That's about the time it left. That term, he's pacing himself, was very common. You're liable to face him in the first inning, and then you get to him in the 6th or 7th inning when they got a man on first and third, one out, and all of a sudden that fastball's a foot quicker.
That was a pretty good breaking ball that Tyler thought was down.
2 down.
We'll take a look at it. It buckles his knees and actually hits the zone.
Micah Johnson hitting at 284. Pretty good idea, but ball trickles foul. The more he tries it, the more proficient he's going to be able to be. You let that young man just become an average bunter for hits.
Well,
you're going to see a guy who's going to hit 300.
I was going to say he's going to be a 300 hitter every year if he does that. The Cincinnati team is usually pretty good defensively. Last year, .988 fielding percentage. That was the best in the major leagues. This year, they're tied for 4th in the National League defensively. Lights up a good straight change and stays alive.
Short lead by Gillespie. 2 out. And the 0-2 pitch once again. High and wide. Bottom of the third in Cleveland, Minnesota leading 4-0.
The Minnesota team at 17-13 is starting to believe in itself. Ryan Dozier having a very good start.
Got him. No score after 2.
Steverson, he didn't like this call, thought it was up, and then he voiced his displeasure to John Hirschbeck. Hey, say, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? And apparently, yes, he was.
Go on, sis. Go on. Todd Frazier will lead it off for the Reds. He'll be followed by Jay Bruce and Brandon Phillips.
Frazier had a big year last year. He had 273. They're not that concerned about his average. He had 29 home runs, drove in 80, and had 20 stolen bases. So offensively, a very well-rounded player.
Well, he's come into that window. 26, 27, 28.
And he got hit with that one.
Yeah, not hard. But leadoff man aboard. He's become a heck of a player.
This one gets away. It looked like it was going to be a breaking pitch. It was only 81 miles an hour. Of course, a lot easier to say that than if you get hit on the elbow. And it appears that he did.
Here's Bruce. He struck out his first trip. Frazier had singled into right field. There he goes. He got a walking lead, and you can stick it in your pocket.
A pretty good idea for Jay Bruce, because Scott Carroll didn't even look at him. And we told you Frazier stole 20 bags last year. He noticed that they were paying no attention to him, and he just took off. When you see this, if you're the hitter, don't even think about swinging.
He's 4 for 4 in stolen bases. There's a strike, deep in the count at 1. That's not going to get the job done. So, not a good at bat by Jay Bruce.
That pitch was low and away, out of the zone, in a situation that you just had to look for something to pull. He didn't, and because of that, Frazier is still out there at second base. Only now there's 1 out.
So here's Phillips. Hits the ball hard, deep into center field. It's Adam Eaton. First pitch strike. Tyler, Kevin in front of him. Somebody better hang out a little bit around there. It's got to be Micah. Frazier's looking like he wants to run.
Johnson's right behind him. Scott looks back. Micah points to himself. He's the guy that is going to be charged with keeping him close at second.
That's off his leg or foot.
Pretty good sinker right off the instep of the left foot.
One-two pitch. Stop.
You're coming to the ballpark and you're going to sit close. Best to bring your glove.
2-2 delivery.
Payne in the on-deck circle. He had a single the first time up.
And another foul. Full count. We have seen a few of those in this ball game. There he goes. So here he comes. He gone. Good recovery. A good peg by Abreu. Good recovery by Tyler. And that will end the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the third. Still no score.
Play. Ball tapped out in front of the plate. Tyler Flowers makes a good play physically and equally as good a play mentally because he gets back in position to put the tag on Frazier, who was trying to score from second base. This is just good execution, a good thought process, a heads-up play by Abreu as he gets it back in time, and Tyler cuts him down before he can get the lead foot to the plate. So heads up, and it kept this game scoreless.
I like that aggressiveness of Todd Frazier. He had third base stolen. As here is Adam Eaton taking ball one. He doubled over the head of Marlon Byrd in left field. Now Byrd playing a few steps deeper.
And Frazier in very close at third. be very hard for Cincinnati to sign Johnny Cueto. If you look at the stuff he has, the career numbers, and when you look as he has looked at what the premier pitchers are getting, John Lester getting 155, Max Scherzer getting 240. It'll be pretty tough to retain him. He's going to be a very valuable guy in the open market.
One out. Well, I always have been and probably always will be against giving pitchers long-term contracts.
Well, history has shown that
it doesn't work out.
They don't stay healthy that long in a long-term deal.
That's exactly. You got to know. That's where you really got to know the player. As Melky, Negron, Cueto, very quickly 2 gone. But it's like some players, position players. We've seen a lot of those guys who have signed big-time contracts and gone south.
And other guys who would play the same for 50 cents as they would for 50 million. And there's a lot of examples of those guys. One of them's wearing a Detroit uniform, Miguel Cabrera. It really doesn't matter what you pay him. He's going to give you everything he's got on a daily basis, and most likely it's going to be better than anybody else on the ball club.
Abreu fouled out with Negron making a good catch over the shoulder going away. Foul ground. Another high pop up. Negron got plenty of room here. And a quick 1-2-3 inning. He's retired the last 6 he's seen.
Game brought to you by Miller Lite. Reds could be excused if they didn't know how to get around the ballpark. Most of the guys have never been here. It's the first time they've been to U.S. Cellular Field since 2001. Last time they met was 2009.
Here's Brian Pena. He singled. Yeah, these agents today, the first thing that happens when a guy signs a long-term contract is they're trying to figure out ways to get him another one. Go along that shelf life.
Even if he's 35?
No, that's a little too old.
If you're just joining us, Hector Nuese started when an inning and 2/3 took a vicious line drive right off It looked just above the hip. Contusion of the back. He left. And Scott Carroll has been mystifying the Reds since then. That was a rocket of a line drive. Runners are first and second, so no runs were scored. Hector left, and Scott Carroll got a force out on a ground ball by Bird, and that was that.
Had him off balance. So the lead man is gone. No runs, 3 hits for their guys. No runs, 2 hits for our guys.
It would be a very good situation to take advantage of this Reds lineup without one of their best hitters, and that would be Joey Votto, who's serving his 1-game suspension in the opening game. Without that bat in the lineup, it's a decent lineup, but much better with Votto.
Cozart get into a 6-4 fielder's choice. Bit of a gap out there in right center. Abreu well off the line at first. It's by Gillespie. Cozart on his way to second, and he will get there. It is his 5th 2-bagger.
This is a straight change. He reaches out, takes it right down the line. Gillespie, who was well off the line, can't get to it. So you don't hear a whole lot about Zach Cozart, but he's one of the best shortstops overall. Everything taken into consideration, the speed, the defense, and the offense. One of the best around.
Skip Shoemaker struck out swinging on a high fastball. There he goes. Picks up his 3rd stolen base. He's 3 for 3.
This Cincinnati Reds team has shown conclusively that if you don't pay any attention to them, they're just going to take off. Only one look. This is actually a base runner's dream. If he can time the fact that a pitcher is only going to give him one look, you just take off, and on the transfer, the ball drops away.
Well, you'd think it would be looking for it because now they're 35 for 37.
Well, that's certainly in the scouting report. And a good stop by Tyler Flowers.
Infield in. Had him off balance in the count 2-1.
From a pitcher's standpoint, in a situation with a man at third in a 0-0 game, you know they pulled the infield in. You're trying to throw a ground ball. From a hitter's standpoint, you're looking for something waist high at the very least to drive to the outfield.
Well, Ivy coming on. Here's the throw. Got a shot. He gone. Beautiful peg by Avisaíl Garcia. Mercy. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. Still no score.
Ball. Avi comes in, has all the best of it, all his momentum coming forward, makes a pinpoint throw to the plate, and the ball is waiting for Cozart to arrive. So 2 men thrown out at the plate in 4 innings, something that you can go a week without seeing. And Tyler does a nice job of making sure that he secures the baseball, but it starts with a very good throw.
Well, the throw was absolutely right out of the textbook because of the fact that if you're an outfielder in right field and you're going to try to throw out a guy and you got a shot to throw out a guy, if you miss, you got to miss up the line towards third base.
There are no outs on the first base side.
None. So he made the perfect throw. As here is Adam LaRoche. He walked back in the first inning and he takes ball 1. You cannot miss on the first base side of home. There's a little quick pitch. Got a shift on for him. And another one. There's a strike.
6 outfield assists for Avi, leading the major leagues.
Well, we get probably the best throwing outfield in baseball. They all have good arms and they're all accurate. And they'll probably, after the season's over, as you go back and put the numbers and do the math, it's high.
He almost dropped that one.
Marlin almost dropped it. So 1 out. But you'll probably find out once the season's over that our outfield probably stopped more guys from going from first to third than any other club in baseball.
As you see, Marlin having the ball almost trickle away twice before finally corralling it.
And here's Avi.
Well, it hasn't translated yet, but it will. If you can stop that extra 90 feet on a single, you're going to win a whole lot of games.
Judging an outfield, first thing you got to judge is, all right, can they catch it? That's number 1.
I like the range. I like the range to go get them.
And the next thing is, can they run? And the third thing is, can they throw? There's a chopper 2 hopper. And then, of course, the last thing, are they accurate? Our guys covered that formula pretty well. Gillespie single to start off the second inning.
And since that single, Johnny Cueto, who looks like he took exception to that, has retired everybody he's seen.
Which is 8 in a row. Now make it 9. And that didn't take long. So we're into the 5th. Scoreless.
Industry, attend the White Sox Career Fair on Friday, May 22nd. Network with representatives from top sports organizations and stay to watch the game. Admission includes the fair and a game ticket. To purchase, visit whitesox.com/job.
Top of the 5th inning, no runs, 4 hits for them, no runs, 2 hits for us. It'll be Negron, then back to the top of the order with Hamilton and Bird. Kansas City beat the Tigers in Detroit 6-2. Jeremy Guthrie over Anibal Sanchez. Sanchez is that's softly hit and caught. So 1 out. Sanchez still trying to figure it out.
Center fielder, number 6.
Bottom of the 5th in D.C. Washington leading Atlanta 3-1. Bryce Harper has not homered in that game.
That is news after his 5 in 2 games.
He's just 22 years old.
It's pretty amazing, huh?
He's something. Here's Hamilton with Gillespie well in on the grass at third, and Abreu even with a bag at first.
And the man at bat is a stolen base machine, so it's best to keep him off base. That's not the technique that he learned from former Major League infielder Delino DeShields. Delino was the guy traded even up for Pedro Martinez. Martinez going to Montreal Expos at the time, and DeShields going to the Dodgers. That wasn't one of their better efforts.
Well, there's two of the fastest guys in the game, Hamilton and Micah Johnson, playing a little pepper with each other right there. So 2 out. But there's a situation there where you just outdumb yourself. And by that I mean it's hard to assume that a guy who's built with a slight build like Pedro, they all said he was going to blow it up.
Yeah, well, he couldn't possibly didn't have the durability to start over the long haul. But as we know, that really wasn't the case.
Well, for 5 years, he was as good a pitcher that ever towed the rubber.
What I liked about him was a couple of things. One, he had a changeup that you couldn't read from his delivery, pinpoint fastball, and he had that meanness. He would throw at you in a heartbeat, didn't mind who you were or what the situation was, and he was in the National League where he had to come to bat, and it still didn't bother him.
Marlon Byrd has walked and grounded to third. No, he was a great pitcher. Absolutely a great pitcher.
In the meantime, Scott Carroll is doing a terrific job. He was sitting in the bullpen, never dreaming that he would come into this game when he did, meaning in the 2nd inning with the bases loaded, no margin for error. And he came in. And this is the 4th good job he's done out of the pen.
Well, if you take it back to last year, the last few outings he had coming out of the pen, not starting, but coming out of the pen, he's been the best long man we've had in a long time.
Yeah, he was outstanding. Under 2-point ERA as a reliever last year.
And that's in the hole. So the 2-out single, and that'll bring up Todd Frazier. Second hit that Scott has given up.
Marlin is with his 8th organization. And he was with the Philadelphia Phillies twice. He came up with the Phillies in 03. And then made the rounds. Washington, Texas, the Cubs, Boston, the Mets, Pittsburgh, and now right here in Cincinnati.
The ball hit hard, but we got a guy there. And that'll retire the side. We're halfway home. Nobody has crossed home plate. Leadoff double, bottom of the first by Adam Eaton, and a leadoff single by Gillespie in the second. And Cueto has retired the last 9 he has seen. So here's Alexei. He's 0 for 1, but he hit a bullet right to Marlon Byrd.
I think Alexei is taking a look at that last pitch. It was off the plate, but it got called, so he's in the hole.
Quick pitch, and ball hit hard. That's going to be a base hit. Byrd will not get that one.
There's an example of a quick pitch that didn't work. Cueto, who does turn his back to the hitter and hesitates just about each and every time, decided he was going to quick pitch Alexei, and he didn't get it done because that fastball was on the outer third. Now Alexei's been up twice and hit the ball hard twice.
Here's Tyler, struck out, called out on a curveball.
Be careful at first. The move from Cueto is exceptional. Time now for our AT&T UVerse Multiview.
Cueto doesn't fall behind that we have seen too often. He's 0-2 on Flowers.
Now he came in.
Don't put the numbers up that he puts up by falling behind 2-0-3-1.
Well, he has walked 1 today. That gives him 7 in 45 innings, 47 innings. So he's pretty good.
He's walked 2. No, excuse me, 1. Yeah, he's looking at the other side of the sheet. You know, the thing about guys, you ought to young pitchers who are struggling a little bit ought to look at Cueto and look at what he's doing. He's got that deceptive motion as he is called out and the pitch is outside. 1 out.
On to pitch tracks, we'll show you that this is close and probably eased back in the zone by Brian Pena. So a good job of framing a pitch that was off the corner, and he got the benefit of the call.
But I've never understood why pitchers who were struggling, and they're more struggling than they're not, wouldn't try a different motion or something different in their motion, or something quick pitching, whatever, anything to add any kind of deception.
You don't end the season with a 2.25 ERA in any league without having a combination of a lot of things. One is good stuff. He's got good stuff. There are some pitchers who have very good stuff. But he also adds deception. He turns his back to the hitter. He has a hesitation. And now John Hirschbeck is going out and having a talk with Cueto.
Well, that's what my point, Steve.
Yes,
is that young pitchers should look at this and take notice and maybe try to adjust, maybe change their motion. There are a lot of guys, the majority, you only got so many at the top of that chart that are real good major league pitchers. The biggest majority of pitchers, the rank and file, are underneath that to the bottom, and then you got the bottom, the guys even shouldn't even be here.
Well, they're interchangeable with those guys in AAA.
But the majority of the rank and file struggle.
Well, Cueto had to learn how to do it. I mean, when he came up, he was 9-14 his first year. The ERA was up close to 5. Second year, he worked it to 11-11 as the Reds had a decent team, but his ERA was 4.5. Then he started figuring it out. 12-7, 9-5, and 19-9. And that probably came with adding deception to what he naturally had was good stuff. You put them together, and you have one of the best pitchers in baseball.
One and one to count with one down. Micah called out on a pitch that he thought was bad. And there's a little soft looper to Cozart. 2 down. So here's Adam. A double and a grounder to first. Now a 6-1 Washington lead over Atlanta.
Washington is just too good a team to be playing the way they started this season. And before it's over, I got to believe they're going to be at the top of that division.
Oh, and 2 the count again. It's been a hit 0-2 all 3 hitters.
This is normally a good pitch to run at 0-2. But how about the move that Cueto has?
Now Seattle had a big right-hander that broke that back leg down and got away with it for a couple of years. A long time ago. Here he goes. And once they started calling it on him, they didn't stop.
Now, there's been a lot of very good pitchers who did it, and they did it so quickly that you couldn't tell. But a lot of base runners on a right-hand pitcher will have a key. There's a couple of different keys. One of them is the back leg, because if you break the back leg, you have to go home or it's a balk. And the good base stealers will look at that. A lot of them will look at the front shoulder. They'll key off something.
There he goes again, and that pitch has popped up. This one's playable. So Alexi singles to start us off. Can't do anything with it, and we'll go to the 6th.
At 7:10 p.m. All fans are invited to stay for a spectacular post-game fireworks show presented by Magellan Corporation. Purchase tickets today by visiting WhiteSox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Jay Bruce will lead it off for Cincinnati, followed by Phillips and Pena. Scott Carroll came on back in the 2nd inning, and he has pitched well. Minnesota now leading Cleveland 7-0. Hughes, whose chin started for the Tribe,
didn't fare very well. You said one of those twins was able to figure him out. Is that the venerable twin?
It is that. He's 3 for 4 today. He was 3 for 3, sitting 297. Torrey Hunter scored 3 runs, hit a home run. Oh, smoked off the glove.
Turned out to be a bad break in that if Jose catches it, they're going to get him. It's going to be 3-1. If he misses it, looks like Connor Gillespie was right there in a position to make the play. But as it turned out, Jose had a tip off the end of the glove, redirecting it, and turned into a base hit.
So here's Phillips. He's gone out deep to center and hit into a very, very unusual 2-3-2 double play. Frazier was on second, tried to steal third. Ball hit out in front of the plate. Tyler got it, went to Abreu, who Abreu came right back to Tyler with a good throw, and they got it.
That particular play was, if not the most heads-up play of the year, it was right up there for our defense. Good thought process by Tyler, hustling back to the plate. Very good throw by Jose, getting it back to him. And both throws were right on the money.
Gap out there in left center. High jump, the peg. They get him at second, cannot get him at first. But a good play. Good play by Micah to keep his foot on the bag.
Well, that throw took him into the path of the runner. And Bruce went in with a clean slide, disrupting the timing. Nice play on that end by Connor. He throws it into the runner, which takes him right in the path of Jay Bruce. And if you jump up in the air with both feet at the same time, you can't get anything on the throw, but that's all he was left with. He got the throw off, but Phillips just too fast.
So here is Pena. He's 1 for 2.
Phillips will most likely be going somewhere in this sequence. He's 4 for 4 in stolen bases.
Well, this is one of the best percentages I've seen in a long time. They're 35 for 37. That's awesome.
Well, you take a look at the two guys they've thrown out, Joey Votto, and somehow they got Billy Hamilton. Bainey is an inviting double play target if they decide to wait around and not run with Phillips.
Good play there by Micah Johnson. Take another look at that.
Would have been a better play had he been on the bag, but he tags it with the back foot. Right? Front foot on the bag.
That's why it was a real good play.
It had to come off.
Nice little shift by Michael. Phillips just a decent lead. Boy, Scott, there he goes. And that's a base hit. So Pena, as we said earlier, always hits well against us. Picks up this second hit. Meanwhile, that play by Johnson at second really looming larger.
The hit and run worked to perfection. This ball in the hole, past a diving Micah. And now a jam for Scott Carroll.
Well, Phillips played that perfectly as a runner. When the hit and run's on, you cannot get picked off. And he did not get a good jump, so it was the hit and run. Here's Cozart. Try to get him in, fouls it off.
Cozart, a great handler of the bat, has one sacrifice this year, but he's probably the best bunter on this team. So Brian Price, knowing that runs are at a premium today, decided to try to steal one. And Cozart fouled it off.
Too much time.
A couple of years ago, Cozart led the National League with 13 sacrifices. Same year, he had 10 sacrifice flies, so that's pretty good execution. Last year, He had 5 sacrifices. And this year looking for his second.
Well, he was the shortstop on Baseball America's 2012 All-Rookie team, as was Todd Frazier. That pitch fouled away, so they count 0-2. In fact, that was a pretty good team. They had Anthony Rizzo at first, Donovan Solano at second, Frazier at third, Cozart at short, Cespedes, Mike Trout, Bryce Harper in the outfield.
I would say that's a pretty good team. You wouldn't mind going to war with that on a daily basis.
Pretty good year for rookies, 2012.
Tyler wants a sinker. He'd love to get the ground ball.
There it is. Can't beat it. He can't get this throw over there in time, so he beats it. And it's 1-0.
It's going to be a run batted in for Cozart, his 13th. It's going to go E4. And it looked like it was going to be 2 until it wasn't. And a good play at second base by Pena, because he goes in as hard as he can go in and disrupts Micah. Ball gets away, and now Cozart at second.
Shoemaker. That's into the gap, so it's 2-0. Cozart at second base disrupted Scott Carroll's rhythm, which a lot of times will lead to a bad pitch.
Skip Schumacher unloads on this one. That's the first run driven in of the year.
We'll show you that jockeying off second base by Cozart. How's that down? That's what good base runners do. Got to disrupt the rhythm of the pitcher. Ball gets by.
Tyler can't locate it. It's back to the wall. That also charged a wild pitch. We'll take another look at it. It's a breaking ball down, and Tyler would probably be the first to tell you that he should have stopped that one. But the glove came up, the ball stayed down, flattened out, went through his legs, and now we got a man at third base.
Oh, this started with 1 out and a man on first and a hit and run. Two in, 2 out, 2-2 the count. He gone. But some damage is done. They had some pressure put on our team with speed. Is at 12:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. It's a 2-0 Cincinnati lead. Well, I tell you, it's hard to beat speed. It's hard to beat the intimidation speed. Biggest killer performance is pressure, and that's what speed does. The threat of stealing a base, running. And this is, if you're just tuning in, the first of 2 this afternoon. Next game is scheduled to start at 6:10. I doubt that's going to happen. As here is Cabrera. Also, we had a chance to get on the board in a hurry in this game. Leadoff double by Adam Eaton. Cabrera got him over to the third with a deep fly in the center. But then Abreu popped up foul ground that Negron made a real good catch on for out number 2, and LaRoche walked, so we had men on first and third, and then Avi popped up to Negron. Two hopper and 1 out.
One of the things you saw in that at bat was that Johnny Cueto buzzed up and in to Melky. He will do that. He is known as a guy that likes to pitch in, doesn't mind throwing high neck in. Not to hit you, just to make you move your feet and get you thinking about things, because it makes that outside corner look a whole lot farther away.
Here's Abreu. Twice he has popped up to first. Once in foul ground, once in fair ground.
There was a quick pitch where he didn't turn his back to Jose. He'll do that on occasion. Very rarely with no strikes, however.
Goes back with a fastball at 94.
Well, that was one of the better fastballs he's thrown today, and we're going to see that move up as he moves along. He's averaged 7 innings per start. The one man you don't want to look at, and we got 2 of the best closers in baseball on their respective teams, but Aroldis Chapman has yet to give up a run in 13 appearances. He is their closer, and along with David Robertson, 2 of the best.
That's high into right center field. Back on the track. 2 down. Two 8-0 for them. No runs, 3 hits, 1 error for us.
Pretty good numbers for Johnny Cueto to this point.
Except for the first inning, he's been dominant.
They made the decision he was going to pitch today anyway. They made the decision to start him in the first game of the doubleheader, not go head-to-head with Carlos Rodon in the second game.
This guy's fun to watch.
He knows his craft.
He is fun to watch.
I think he was trying to throw a variation of an eephus pitch. He was going after the slow hook, but it floated out of the zone.
He's only walked one guy, and that was Adam. And 3-1 to count. It's full. Ivy on deck. Came back from the 3-0 to get him, so 1-2-3 inning, and we're into the seventh, trailing 2-0.
Voucher for 4 free White Sox tickets. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Visit whitesox.com/Cooper Tires for more information or to redeem your voucher.
Top of the seventh, top of the order for the Reds, Hamilton, Bird, and Frazier.
You always have to watch the bunt to both sides, either a push bunt to third, with that in mind, Gillespie well in on the grass, or a drag bunt. And the guys are halfway on the right side.
Hamilton 1 for 3, hit a bullet off the hip of the lower back of Noesi. He had to leave the ball game. It was a rocket. Actually, I want to send out a big White Sox hello and congratulations to Greg Kunkel, my good buddy out at Sunset Ridge Golf Club, who was inducted into the Western Golf Association Hall of Fame for all the great work he's done over the years for caddies. Sent a lot of those young men to college. Congratulations, Greg. There's the strike. 2-1.
This is certainly not the man you want to walk. Hamilton knows that, so he knows he's going to see a fastball. The question is, how badly does he want to walk, and will he be looking fastball and try to iron it out?
14 for 15 in stolen bases.
Pretty close pitch, didn't get it, and so now you have, if not the league's fastest man, he's in the top 2 or 3. And as you can see, he leads the major leagues with 14 of them.
Here's Bird, a walk, a grounder to third, and a single. Twice Hamilton in his minor league career has stolen more than 100.
You certainly have to have great speed, but to do that, you also have to have a wonderful understanding of how to get a great jump and how to read pitchers. And Hamilton is able to do all of the above. Zach Putnam loosening up. And when your starter leaves in the second, through no fault of his own, he took a line drive off his hip. The next man out of the bullpen has got to get the game deep, and regardless of how this works out for Scott Carroll, he's done that.
Yanks that one foul. Past Jim Riggleman. He stole 103. Dayton, 2011. He stole 155 at Bakersfield and Pensacola in 2012. So 75 in Louisville and 13 more with Cincinnati in 2013. So 88 there, 56 last year.
What a weapon that is. Tied for second in the major leagues last season. Talking over with Billy Hatcher, longtime player, longtime coach.
Take a couple other scores for you. Toronto beat Boston 7-1 up in Canada. And Baltimore beat the Yankees in the Bronx 6-2. There he goes. Pitch out.
And Hamilton looks to be hurt and didn't notice the ball had gotten away. Even on a pitch out, he's almost impossible to get. He's trying to shake off some problems with the left arm. It looked like he hit the shin of Micah Johnson, who is a strong man. Planting that leg, Hamilton on the head first dive went right into the shin, and he got the worst of it.
He says he's all right, I guess. Yeah, you get those guys very seldom. One of the most exciting games we had a long time ago when Ron Carcapaz was our catcher. We're out in Oakland, and Ricky Henderson was top of his game was watching Karkovice throw him out twice in one game.
That probably didn't happen throughout his career too many times. Maybe one other time.
Also for
maybe
Karkovice, you don't steal on. Also for Karkovice. That was fun. One and one to count.
But what Carroll would like to see him do is pull the ball. With that in mind, he wouldn't mind throwing him inside. What Bird should be trying to do is guide the ball into that gaping hole on the right side. Because with Micah Johnson holding Hamilton close, and you have to hold him close, there's nobody home on that right side.
Well, Tony La Russa had the best system for holding guys like Hamilton and Micah Johnson on at second base. He put the second baseman right there. And then he broke over with the pitch. Not back or anything. Right on the base. That's high into center field. Hamilton tagging and running. Good throw by Adam, but Bird gets the job done. So the leadoff walk is now standing in third.
Looked like he came awfully close to leaving early. Not that he had to because of that great speed. He's tagging up. Adam knows he's got to play. I think he timed it pretty well. Again, what a weapon he is.
So the infield in with one down. And here's the big stick in this lineup. Todd Frazier, who's 1 for 2 today. Jay Bruce on deck. Left-handed hitter. This guy here with 19 RBIs. Three and one. Two 8-0 for their guys. 0-3-1 for our guys. Yeah. Scored twice. Have stranded 7 coming into this inning. And there's a little bit of a go around right there. So runners at the corners, 1 out. Bruce is 1 for 3. Had a hard single leading off last inning, and that started at 2-run 6th.
Bruce has only ground into 1 double play this year. He does have an uppercut swing. He is a home run hitter, and he has fanned 32 times, leading the ball club in that department. So Don Cooper on the phone wanting to know if Putnam is ready, and maybe to get somebody else up. Bobby Thigpen will answer most likely in the affirmative that he is ready. And here comes Robin.
So Bruce .251 lifetime hitter in the big leagues. As regardless of what happens here, Scott Carroll did his job. Came on in the second inning. He did a fine job, as he has been doing since he put that White Sox uniform on. He departs, and we'll be back.
The University of Chicago Medicine Comer Children's Hospital. Tickets start as low as $5. Parking is just $10. And White Sox and Comer Children's Hospital teaming up for kids' health. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com/Sundays or calling 866-SOX-GAME. And our Honda call to the pen is Zach Putnam. Zach on for the 12th time. ERA 6 3/4. He's trying to throw a ground ball, and with that splitter, that's most likely what Robin has in mind.
Runners at the corners, one down. Outfield, for the most part, straight up, spread out, maybe a little bit of gap out there in left center. There he goes. So Brian Price has got him moving, and it has cost us today. It's 3-0.
Frazier didn't hesitate. He took him right out of a double play option on a ball hit right at Micah. So run batted in, number 16. Big speed combination at first and third. Price takes advantage of it. And it's a 3-run game.
So here's Brandon Phillips. He's 0 for 3. So that'll be an error. And runners at the corners.
Here, number 4 for Gillespie. Ball hit right at him. Looks like he had it and then just dropped it. No chance anywhere.
Pena. He's 2 for 3. What new against us? They hit him.
He's looking out at Putnam. I don't think so.
So that'll load him up.
See, Tyler wants it inside. Throws a cutter. Got him on the thigh. Looks out at Putnam. Now, Brian, he wasn't throwing at you, and Tyler goes out there to make sure that he imparts that bit of wisdom to him.
Brian Pena, 280 career hitter against us.
Joins a list of guys who have terrorized our pitching staff over the years, with Ryan Rayburn right at the top.
One to count to Kozart. He's 1 for 3, a double. He also has scored a run and knocked in a run.
Pretty good speed at third and second.
Watch out. Riggleman. Riggs. Good job of ducking that one.
Long-time Major League manager with a few different stops. Now finds himself a third base coach of the Reds.
The 1-2. He gone. They do come up with one. 7th inning stretch. We trail it 3-0.
Because of a couple of things. One, his normal motion, which is on the right, He shows his back to the hitter, then he hesitates, then he delivers. On the left, he uses a quick pitch on occasion. It hasn't been particularly effective today as he's given up a base hit on it, but it is very deceptive, and he works it well.
0-1 to count to Avi. Outfield straight up, spread out. Yanks that one foul, and very quickly another 0-2 count.
There was an example of the quick pitch. So hitters have got to be ready as soon as they set their feet, because sometimes Cueto will come right at you.
Down low, 2-2. Top of the 8th inning in Washington, 6-3 Nats over Atlanta. Minnesota leading Cleveland 7-4, bottom of the 7th at Cleveland, and that's 1 out.
Throws him a good straight change, one of the few he's thrown today, and he had Avi well out in front of it.
5 strikes now for Cueto. He's walked just 1. So here's Gillespie. He's 1 for 2. Takes ball 1. (6-2) as I mentioned. Baltimore beat the Yankees. Delman Young, a couple of RBIs. Brandon Phillips got him. 2 down. This guy has some of the fastest innings.
He just keeps pumping strikes and
changing speeds, changing motions.
It's a lot like a different pitcher with different style, but a lot like Greg Maddux, in that if you take the first pitch, more times than not, you're behind 0-1. So guys will go up there and tack early in the count because they don't want to be 0-1, 0-2. That's what Cueto's been today.
Here's been our most effective hitter against him. Alexei, stretch. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes! That is his 100th career homer. And it's a 3-1 ball game.
First home run of the year, 10th driven in. He's been up 3 times. He's hit 3 rockets. He has 2 for 3 to show for it. And that is a milestone home run for Alexei. Our forward home run replay. This ball spinning over the middle of the plate. And Alexei takes it out. For Cueto, it's the 6th home run he's given up.
Tyler, breaking ball, blowing away. Tyler 0 for 2. Called out a couple of times. Come on, Brian Price, get somebody up in that bullpen.
Well, Cincinnati doesn't have any problems if Cueto can hand the ball to Aroldis Chapman. But between the starter and Aroldis Chapman, they have some difficulties.
Well, I don't care who they bring in. We're not
in the anybody but him philosophy? Is that what this is?
We're not having a whole bunch of success.
No. Not too many teams do. Last time out, he gave up his season high in hits and runs to the Braves. But you'd have to figure he'd have a bounce back, and it's been pretty good today.
Well, it's the first time I've seen him pitch live. Seen him on a lot of highlights, and there is another strikeout. But the homer by Alexei, number 100 for him. And we'll go to the 8th, trailing by 2.
Warm up in the bullpen, visit the dugouts, and much more. Join us for Family Field Day on Saturday, May 30th, and support Chicago White Sox charities. To purchase tickets, visit whitesoxcharities.org.
3-8-0 for Cincinnati. 1-4-2 for our guys here in the 8th inning.
There was the battery. Cueto saying that was a rolling curveball over the middle of the plate. And when you do that, a lot of guys will hit it a long way.
Well, he's thrown almost nothing but strikes today. And we've only had just Alexei's hit the ball hard 3 times. He's 2 for 3. He hadn't made many mistakes.
Nope. He usually doesn't. 93 pitches, 68 strikes. Not bad.
Shoemaker, 1 for 3, an RBI double back in the 6th. Off the end of the bat, but the leadoff man aboard.
DeGrom has yet to sacrifice. He is a middle infielder, so most likely he's able to do that. And Brian Price looking for another run. Let's see what the call is here.
He has walked, gone to left, and struck out.
No sign of a bunt on that pitch.
Short lead. And the count 2-0. Come on, Zach. 3-0. Come back and get him. Trouble of brewing here in the top of the 8th. First 2 men aboard. So here's Hamilton. He's 1 for 3 with a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored.
And he has 1 sacrifice this year. So now they want to talk over how they're going to defend at least the possibility of a bunt.
Well, they got plenty of time because there's nobody warming up in the pen.
No, it's Zach against the world to this point.
good one. Sacrifice. 1-3. One thing about Brian Price, every time they get somebody on base, he's doing something to put some pressure on us.
He realizes that even though his team does hit home runs, and they have hit 38 of them this year, he will try to run you out of the ballpark if his speed runners get on. And he'll use the hit and run. He'll use just about everything at his disposal. And he's proven to be a very aggressive manager in a very short period of time.
Well, even guys that don't run with all the stolen bases, he's got them in action. So here's Bird. He's 1 for 3. Infield in.
Outfield straight away.
Ball gets back away. He got a shot. And he got him. Good stretch dive right there by Tyler.
And sometimes you get lucky, as this ball caromed right back to Tyler, and then he realized he'd be better off taking it himself as opposed to a flip. It came right back to him. He does beat him to the plate. The tag's on the foot. That's the third man the Sox have retired at home plate. You can go a long time between seeing that happen in one game.
So now, 2 out with a man on third. And the count 1-2. Well, Brian Price is not going to do what Chuck Tanner did with Oakland back in 1976. They stole 341 bases.
He's got speed, but he didn't have that much speed.
But the thing about Tanner that year, he had guys, Gene Tennis stole 20. He had guys that couldn't run stealing bases. He got him, held on to it. Good job by Tyler. So they do not. They threaten, can't score. It is still 3-1 Cincinnati.
whitesox.com/connect today. Big inning, because if you don't tie him up here or take the lead, Chapman's coming in the game. He has the 103-mile-an-hour fastball.
First pitch strike. Micah has struck out and then looped out to short. 3-9-0 for the Reds, 1-4-2 for our Sox in the first of this doubleheader, and the first of this 3-game set. The conclusion tomorrow afternoon. Takes it up, takes the strike, and the count 1-2.
And Jennings losing in the pen. Cueto has been changing speeds brilliantly with each and every one of his pitches.
He's got time. One out.
Might not want to loop it over there, but he got it there.
Well, as I mentioned, I said he is fun to watch. I mean, as I said, the first time I've seen him live, I've seen him obviously on TV, but
he can do it.
Like Louis Tion. Louis was fun to play against. He would do things out there too. I mean, his motion was incredible, and I'm sure Cueto's been a disciple, so to speak, of Mario Soto, and I'm surprised he hadn't thrown more changeups, because Soto had one of the best changeups in the history of the game.
Well, Cueto hasn't used it a lot, but when he's used it, it's been effective today.
Yeah.
That was a changeup to Micah Johnson. And what I like is he changes speeds with all of his pitches. Even if you guess the pitch, you can't guess the velocity.
Well, when you're
Makes it doubly
changing
tough.
speeds on all your pitches like he does, hitters don't like that. And then you're changing your motion. You don't know which motion you're going to get. Hitters don't like that. Ergo.
Tough.
Cueto.
A 2.25 ERA last year. And this year it's coming down. He started this game at 2.72. That was because of the 5 he gave up against the Braves. But this is his 7th start. And he is the ace of this staff. There's no doubt about that.
He can be the ace of a lot of staffs. Adam. And quickly, 2 out.
You take a look at the range on the 4-seam fastball, 88 to 94. He can actually get it high as 97 if he needs it. He hasn't needed it. The changeup, 81 to 89. 2-seam fastball, which is the one that moves in and down to the right-hand hitter, 89 to 94. He's been something.
That one at 82. And taken for a strike. Melky 0 for 3. He's lined out to center, and twice he has bounced out to Negron at first base. Souvenir left side. .555 right now. Probably be 20 minutes between games. And it'll be Carlos Rodon against Jason Marquis. So make your plans. Come on out. See game 2 of this doubleheader. And tomorrow, Johnny Danks against Michael Lorenzen. What that quick pitch does, and he's doing a variation of that as well.
Just puts another thing into the mind of the hitter.
Well, it disrupts your timing.
That almost disrupted his helmet. And that was a quick pitch.
Well, that was a slower quick pitch.
Nope.
He's got different speeds.
He's gone up and in a few times to Melky.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's part of his arsenal.
Yeah. As he got him. We're into the ninth. We need 2 to tie.
Comet Bat. Stay connected to the White Sox all season with the MLB.TV Game of the Day. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay previews, radio broadcasts, and more. Browse the app's new features, including StatCast tracking, videos, and bilingual access for Spanish-speaking fans. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
All right, let's hold them right here and try to get whoever. It's that big left-hander out that bullpen as Dan Jennings comes on.
Jennings on for the 12th time. His ERA 3.38. He's been very good out of the pen. As you can see, right-handers have done a worse job against the lefty than left-handers, and he's kept the ball in the ballpark. And he's got to go right through the heart of the order and hold them right there with a 2-run deficit.
That's up high to Frazier, who was 1 for 2. There's a base hit right back through the middle. It's a good job of hitting right there. Short arms.
Well, it seems that the 240 batting average is not going to stay there long for Todd Frazier, because he's got a pretty good idea what he's doing up there, and he's been on base 4 times this afternoon.
Well, we talk about it all the time. You show me a guy can hit with short arms, and I'll show you a pretty good hitter. Tough out. Jay Bruce, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Frazier has a stolen base already today. He's 4 for 4 this season. And the Reds on the year are 36 for 38. those guys that likes to get that walking lead.
Yeah, that's one of the things you can't afford for a base runner to do, and that is keep his momentum. You have to make sure he's stationary. If you allow him to walk into that lead, it's going to be really tough to throw him out. So regardless of how long it takes, you have to make sure that he's stationary.
They can't get that. The count 0-2. And a couple of guys on the left, Chris Wells on the right, George Grant, two terrific announcers and two terrific guys.
George has been around seemingly forever.
47 years.
He's on a smaller schedule these days.
47 years in the booth.
Yeah, he's a good one. And he enjoys what he's doing.
Hadn't aged a bit.
Doesn't seem like it.
He just had a tough youth, you know.
I saw him in 1979, and he looks the same as he looked when I saw him then.
I know it.
I know whatever he's doing, he should keep on doing it.
In the dirt, and he's going to get in. So it'll be a wild pitch, and the leadoff man at second.
That's what really helps you to have that aggressive secondary lead. Then if a pitch is in the dirt, you take off and there's very little chance. Tyler does a pretty good job here of blocking it, knocking it down, but no chance at all at second base. You see the momentum, and then as soon as it's in the dirt, he's off to the races and in at second easily.
Well, the best we've ever had on our team, the White Sox uniform, but that was Jose Valentin. Ozzie was good at it as well, but Valentin was the best we've seen.
Yeah, if you can do that, you're going to take some bags that you ordinarily would not get.
Who's trying to pull that one, trying to hook it? He gone. No, not yet. Now he is, but Frazier moves into third.
Heads up base running by Todd Frazier.
These guys are good.
Well, they're taking advantage of everything that the Sox have given them today. Frazier notices that the ball gets away. And when he does that, he knows that Tyler is going to be scrambling to get the out at first base. So he's in at third and force the infield in at all four positions again.
Phillips takes ball one. And of course, that is one of the great announcers in baseball history. Hall of Famer Marty Brennaman.
Marty's son Tom, who I partnered with for a while.
Terrific announcer.
He's not here. Tom can do every sport. He's magnificent in football. Decided to take this series off, but what a great father-son combination. And Marty Brennaman, to a certain extent, is as much of the face of the Cincinnati Reds as anybody around. He's been there seemingly forever. Great voice, great presentation, and a real interesting character. I've had some great times with Marty over the years.
I've always liked him because he told it like it was.
Oh, he still does. Still does.
He always will, as long as it's behind point south. 2-1 to count. Brandon Phillips. And it is 4-1.
RBI number 15. And one of the things that makes it so difficult with Brandon Phillips is that he doesn't strike out very often. So if you put the bat on the ball, even if you don't have the power you might have once had, good things are going to happen.
There's Pena. He's 2 for 3. Yeah, but this is Marty's 51st year in the booth.
And he started when he was 40.
His 42nd in Cincinnati. There's the strike.
And if you have a choice, and you usually don't, you want to face Pena from the right side.
If you're just tuning in, they have 4 runs on 11 hits. We have 1 run on 4 hits. Johnny Cueto has really pitched well. Only run, a homer by Alexei, is 100th of his career in the 7th. And the count 3-1. And if you're just getting home tuning in, we've got another one after this one.
You might want to see Carlos Rodon making his first major league start. That should be an interesting game.
Phillips on point. Strike. And a full count.
Umpires don't really like when a hitter does this. First of all, it had the strike zone. Second of all, he is a catcher who would like to see his pitcher get some strikes from John Hirschbeck. So I think Brian knows that it wasn't a particularly good move.
And if it's close, he better be swinging. But it wasn't that close. So 2-0.
And Don Cooper coming out. He wants a word with Jennings. Johnny Cueto is in his 8th year in the major leagues. He's one of the premier pitchers in all of baseball. Had a 19-9 year in 2012. Last year 20-9. And yet, including this year to this point, he's had 10 career complete games. Now he most likely can complete this one. We'll have to see if Brian Price will allow him to do that.
Well, the last few seasons he hadn't need to when you had that Chapman out there in the bullpen.
No, he was. Aroldis Chapman is a tremendous weapon. The odds are they're not trading him anytime soon, but he would bring a bundle on the open market.
There's a breaking ball strike to Cozart, who's 1 for 4. Well, if you're just joining us, Joey Votto did not play because he had a 1-game suspension. He will be there in the nightcap. And you stick Votto in this lineup, it changes things entirely.
Votto is having a big bounce back year because he had some problems last year. Not a typical Votto year. He had 255, only had 6 home runs, only drove in 23, only played in 62 games because he was injured a great deal. But this year, completely different. Votto has been a very big factor. He's rebounded to .311 with 7 home runs and 18 driven in. And when he's healthy and unsuspended, he's really good.
Well, he's one of the best hitters in that league. Slight gap out there in right center. And there's a little looper going foul. Count hangs at 0-2. Block. Tyler's had a busy day behind the plate.
He's had a lot of pitches in the dirt.
A bunch.
He also made some very good plays and tagging people out at the plate. 3 putouts.
3 of them.
Catchers don't usually see 3 putouts in the same game.
That's a final from Cleveland as Minnesota. Twinkies rolling. 18-13. They beat the Tribe 7-4.
There was 29 hits in that game. Perkins with his 11th save, and the last man he retired, Ryan Rayburn.
Another nice block by Flowers. Atlanta has come back to tie Washington at 6. That game in the bottom of the 9th.
And there is Aroldis Chapman. Probably the biggest fastball in the game since he's come into the league.
Talking to some Reds people yesterday, and they said that when he first joined the club, he'd come in as a rule throwing 94, 95, 96. And he's gotten to the point now he comes in, he's throwing 101, 102, sometimes 103.
There was some talk out of spring training a few years back where they were considering starting him.
There go the runners. And that'll load him up.
But that talk of starting him quickly dissipated as the Reds got to be contenders, and knowing that you might start Chapman and use him once every 5 days. But leaving that bullpen as a closer, he's not infallible, but he's close, and he's a much more potent weapon if this team is in the race.
So Jennings has walked his second man this inning. And here's Shoemaker, who is 2 for 4. And on the fist. Kansas City over the Tigers 6-2 at Comerica Park. Guthrie over Sanchez. Jeremy now 2-2. Sanchez 2-4.
I think those teams have split their last 6 right down the middle.
Toronto beat Boston 7-1 as there is 1-1 to count. Encarnacion hit his 5th home run in that game. Donaldson 3 for 5, hitting at .320. And there's a base hit. They're going to hold. Pena at third as one more scores, and it's 5-1. So the walks.
Three hits for a man that doesn't get a whole lot of starts. Shoemaker drives this one into left field. And the inning rolls along. It's out of a save situation now. So we'll see if, in fact, we do see Chapman. Most likely not.
Negron has walked twice, flied to left, and struck out. And he takes ball 1.
It's a lot of work in one inning as Dan ready to throw his 31st.
Count evens.
Not the fastest group on the bases.
It's all yours, Dan. No activity as the count moves to 3-1. And it's 6-1.
First run batted in for Negron this year, and he does it the quiet way.
Now we're going to get some activity.
Jake Petrichka loosening up. Hamilton, a much better hitter from the right side than he is from the left. Just about 100 points difference. But he's been on base a couple of times, and when he gets on base to lead off an inning, it is really difficult to stop him from scoring. That's exactly what he did with the walk leading off the 7th.
And field is in. And there's ball 1.
And the biggest problem when you're not throwing strikes is you're not going to get the close pitch. Last pitch was close, but a touch out of the zone.
Freno.
I think Tyler wants to know if Jennings is hurt or just frustrated.
So here comes Robin and Hermie.
He had a very pained expression on his face when he delivered the last pitch. And for him, this has really been uncharacteristic wildness. So,
yeah, I mean, talking about spring training on.
No, he's been awfully good and he's thrown strikes. So you wonder. Apparently, he's telling Hermie, I think he's okay. We're not sure if this is just frustration or he's feeling some pain.
Well, Washington won that ballgame 8-6. Bryce Harper, 2-run homer.
It's 6 in 3 games.
And there's the strike. Hamilton struck out at an infield single, got into the second, walked, stole a base, and has a sacrifice bunt. That's in the center field. And it's 7-1.
5th run batted into the year for Hamilton. He's kind of a slap hitter from the left side, but he's got a little authority from the right side. And now Robin comes out, and that's going to be it for Jennings.
So the first bad outing since he's had a White Sox uniform for Dan James. We hope he is okay. He'll depart. Jake comes on, and we'll be back.
And he's come in to nail down the final out. On for the 8th time. 0-1 ERA, 4.32. He inherits runners at the corners, but now it's a 6-run deficit.
Here's Marlon Byrd. Walk and ground out to third, a single. Fly out to center, a strikeout. Now field straight up, spread out. Runners at the corners. And that ball hit hard and gone. So it's 10-1.
He got a first ball fastball. It was low and in. It's a lot easier to drop the head of the bat on a pitch inside than it is one outside. And Marlin hit his 6th home run. He's now driven in 17 this year. A renaissance year for Marlon Byrd. Our forward home run replay. Low fastball down and in and gone. 10-1.
Here's the man who started this inning with a single. Todd Frazier, 2 for 3 in this ball game. Also was hit by a pitch, stole a base, and walked. Seven runs here in the top of the 9th. That's off the end of the bat. And that'll do it. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. Trailing by 9.
We're going to show you the only bright spot today for the Sox. Lexi Ramirez came up in the 7th inning with 2 outs, and he hit a home run, number 100 of his career. And that is our Miller moment. Otherwise, it's been fairly bleak this afternoon as Cueto is still out there. Now he's got a 9-run lead. And as you can see, through 8 and through 107 pitches, he's been brilliant. Just the 1 walk, just 4 hits. The 1 earned run is the home run that he threw to Alexi. Other than that, it's been way, way too much Cueto today.
So Abreu, LaRoche, Garcia. Cueto looks like one of those guys. He could go 12 or 13 if he wanted to.
Well, today certainly, after a little pressure in the first inning, he's been coasting ever since.
First inning, we had a leadoff double by Adam Eaton. Line drive deep to center field by Cabrera, got into third. And then Negron made a real good catch over the shoulder, foul territory on Abreu, so that was 2 out. A walk to LaRoche, and then Avasiel popped up to Negron. 1-1 to count.
As this game has moved along, Cueto has thrown more and more changeups.
This will be pitch number 110. I'd go. Now to play right side. Bryce Harper. Now 11 home runs. That's way back. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. A ball.
Home run number 6. RBI number 17. 2 solo homers account for the scoring. Our 4th home run replay, and that's 3 straight changes in a row. The 3rd of which is hit a long way. Way over the State Farm and Comcast sign.
That's the longest one we've seen yet this year. This park.
Yeah, that one was beaten.
Adam can't get it. One and two. And that's high.
441, the estimated distance of that home run. J.J. Hoover throwing in the bullpen.
There's ball 4. Second walk issued by Cueto. And here comes Brian Price.
Well, he's walking out seemingly to give Cueto the opportunity, and Cueto says I can finish it off. So he's got an 8-run lead, but you don't want to extend your guy if in fact he tells you he's tiring. He had Hoover up in the pen, but he decided to let Johnny try to end it himself.
So here's Avi. He's popped to first, grounded to short, and struck out last time up. That's into right field. And it's going to get by him. Down into the corner. So Adam now is going to be held at third on the double by Garcia. That's his 5th two-bagger.
Jay Bruce can't get to this slicing line drive. It's slicing toward the line. And he can't get it and can't knock it down.
There was his fastball, and he's underneath it, fouls it back. 0-2. Carlos Rodon in game 2 of this doubleheader coming up next. So if you're in the area, come on out. His first major league start. This will be pitch number 123 coming up.
His career high, 125, 2 starts ago.
Ball lined hard into right, but Jay Bruce is there. Gets it back in. Well, LaRoche scores. And it's 10-3, and here comes Brian Price.
So Cueto cannot complete it. And it was a very good day for him. He's frustrated with himself because he couldn't get out of the 9th inning. But a few Reds fans in attendance think it was a pretty good performance. So we'll step out and be back after these messages.
He's a good one.
This year he's doing pretty well. 2-0, 3.86 ERA, and this is his 12th appearance. Last year it was dismal. 1-10. He appeared in, well, a lot of games, 54 of them, but his ERA was up close to 5.
Here's Alexei. He's 2 for 3 with his 100th home run. Takes 6, strike 1.
J.B. Shuck is in the on-deck circle.
Just joining us, they scored 2 in the 6th to take a 2-0 lead. They made it 3-0 with 1 in the 7th. Alexei's homer made it 3-1, and they scored 7 times in the top half of this inning. Who was a big man, 6'3", 246 pounds.
He is a big man, but wait till you get a look at Jumbo Diaz. When you get a nickname like Jumbo, you are a large fellow. And Diaz is all that.
Well, there's such a thing as an oxymoron.
There
so
is.
You're either really large or really small, one of the two.
Well, you tell me when he comes in.
Nice play by Kozak.
Good
nice
play. It came very close at first base with Negron coming off the bat. Cozart is a masterful defensive shortstop.
Well, I'm just glad to see us pick up some runs to get a little mo going into game 2, which will be coming up. Hopefully 20 minutes after this one is concluded. So here's Shuck hitting for Flowers. Tyler was 0 for 3 and was a busy guy behind that plate today. 3 putouts, blocked a lot of pitches. And there's strike 1. Very quickly 0-2.
Cueto went 8 1/3, charged with all 4 runs on just 6 hits, walked a pair, and fanned 7.
Top for 2 Hopper. And this ball game is over. So they score 7 times in the top of the 9th. And that put it away as they win it 10-4. But Carlos Rodon in game 2.
Looking forward to seeing the young man in his first major league start.
And our player of the game is the 29-year-old right-hander who was really good, Johnny Cueto, our player of the game. So for my partner Steve Stone, our director Jim Angio, our producer John Walgren, our associate producer Dave Ross, our technical manager Mark Harper, also for the mayor Mean Joe Groove, and for Mike Mayer, Frank Leone, Doug Bullard, Wynn Griffiths, and our executive producer Jim Corno Jr. This is a Hawk. So long, everybody. You've been watching White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet.